Hola y bienvenidos amigos. Hello and welcome friends. Steve here, Street Smart Travel, coming at you from the Campo up in the Andes, just outside of the town of Cañar. You can see there's a Temescal in the background, and there's sort of the main ceremonial site here up in the countryside just outside of the town. So I've been here a little over 2 weeks, and this video will be about my trip to Ingapirca, the best preserved ruins in Ecuador. I'm a huge fan of ruins, like kind of a ruins junkie. I fancy myself, or how would I say, I fantasize sometimes I could be Indiana Jones, trekking around the world, checking out these sites, which I've done a lot over the years. I've been all over Central and parts of South America to see ruins like Tikal in Guatemala, tons of ruins in Belize, Mexico, Palenque, Tulum, Chichen Itza, and a whole bunch of other ones I'm sure I'm forgetting. Bagan in Myanmar, or Burma as you prefer. Angkor Wat in Cambodia. And probably the most impressive would have been to date is Machu Picchu in Peru. So I love that kind of stuff. Ingapirca, like I said, has been on my radar. And after my first full day of work here, we spent it harvesting San Pedro for a ceremony that we did, and I'll do two separate videos about prepping the San Pedro, the medicine, and the actual ceremony, right? The whole night epic marathon ceremony that went on. But this video today is about Ingapirca. So after the day of harvesting and prepping the San Pedro, I was done. Usually for the volunteer gigs here, it's 4 or 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, and that was probably closer to 8. That was a really long day, and by the end of it, I was done. So my host, we were in town at his place, and he drove me back up here and dropped me off and looked at the sky and went, yeah, tomorrow's going to be a really nice sunny day. You should take a day off and go to Ingapirca and check out the ruins. And I just went, oh yeah, right? Like I'm much closer to them here in Cañar than I would be if I was in Cuenca. I thought, yeah, I should do that, right? Why not? And sure enough, next day I figured it out. Basically, take a bus from here to the terminal in town and then take a different bus, which dropped me off within, less than a kilometer of the entrance to the ruins. So very easy to get to, very simple, pretty quick. And managed to get my way, navigate myself, get on the site. Checked with the lady selling tickets, and I said, $2, right? The entrance fee with the guide. And she said, well, yeah, normally, but today the guide had a family emergency, so they're not here, so we have an outside guide, so it's $2 to get the admission basically to the site, and then another $3 for the guide. I thought, well, I'm already here, whatever, an extra $3. I'm not going to turn around and throw a hissy fit. Oh, no, I'm not paying $3. No, just whatever, suck it up. That was a deterrent, by the way, for some other people that were there. There were some Ecuadorian families, and when they found out it was $5 per person instead of $2, they said, we'll be back on the $2 days. So as a result, we ended up having a group of maybe about 20 people. I think there were probably 3 gringos in total, and the rest were all Ecuadorian from what I could tell. Tour was all in Spanish. The guide was excellent. The site is really pretty, it's not Machu Picchu impressive, but they were right, well preserved. Like I said, I'm a sucker for ruins, so any day I can get out and see some ruins is a good day. The museum, really nicely appointed, very easy to navigate through, and I think I was the only person in it when I was there, waiting until the tour was ready to leave. So I got to know a bit about the site and do a bit of research before we actually got onto the site. Now you can't get on this site without a guide. So that's why they usually include the guide in the price to access the ruins. And very accessible and easy to navigate. We actually had somebody who was in a wheelchair in our group, and they couldn't get to all parts of it. Like the picture, the thumbnail of me at the temple, that's the highlight of the tour. The guide actually talked me into it. He had to ask me a few times if I wanted a picture, and I kept saying, no. And he's like, come on, you're here. I'm like, okay, we'll take a picture, make a good thumbnail if nothing else. But that part was inaccessible for somebody in a wheelchair. The rest of it, pretty easy to get around. So not a physically demanding day, not a huge site like something like Palenque or Angkor Wat, where you could be there, for days in some cases. Great weather. My host was totally right. And at the end of the tour, the weather changed, as it tends to do here very rapidly. So it went from sunny and hot to cloudy and windy and threatening rain and a lot of thunder, which is something I have not heard up here. So I was like, okay, still have a bit of a walk to get to the bus. And the other thing was, there was one other part of, it's not part of the guided tour, but you can go over to a path that takes you to this thing that's a rock face, and I'll put a picture of that at the end of this video in the montage of videos and pictures, just to give you a taste of what it's like there. This is called La Cara del Inca, so the face of the Inca. And the question was, is this a natural phenomenon, or was this carved by man to look like the profile of, let's say, an Inca person, or somebody like me with a big nose? Either way, I decided, yeah, I'll roll the dice, see if I can get over there and then come back and get back to the bus before the rain started, and lucky for me, that's exactly what happened. And a word about the site, so it's not as impressive as any of those other sites that I rattled off, but it is the best preserved ruins here. And the reason why there are no complete structures is because over the years, when the site fell into disuse, I think it was the Inca and the Spanish, both at different times, pilfered materials, building materials from that site to build other things. I can totally relate. I own a bunch of rental properties, and if I'm replacing something in one unit, there might not be anything wrong with it. It just needs an upgrade, or I have a vacancy and I'm doing up the unit so it's more attractive to a new tenant. I'll take whatever that is, and if it's still in good shape, I'll put it into a different unit, right? In their case, for building materials, they would have had to go to a quarry and dig up a bunch more rocks and other stuff, and if it's already there, like, it's way easier if we just take the existing and put it wherever we want to put it. I won't go into the details of the tour, because if you're planning on going there, I don't want to spoil the fun, let's say. But definitely a great day, beautiful weather, great guide, covered the site very well, took all the questions, like I said, convinced me to take a couple pictures with me in it, and also explained to me how to get to the face of the Inca and check that out. So I would say definitely, if you're into that kind of thing, if you're looking to do something outside of Cuenca, like if you're based in Cuenca, or better, Cañar, but I've been here for 2 weeks, I haven't seen any gringos. So if you're in Cuenca looking to do the day trip, you could do the DIY. Just make sure you know the bus schedules, because they don't run that often. If you got stranded at the site, it would be pretty easy to pick up a different bus. Might have to make a couple connections on the way back, but you could get your way back to Cuenca pretty easily, and probably do the buses and the site and maybe a lunch for probably 20 bucks, something like that, depending how you want to do it. Big fan of DIY myself, like I said. So for me, this was an awesome day trip that came about last minute, because my host said, hey, you should go and do this thing. I went, yeah, I should actually go and do that thing. A note about a recent video. The last video that I put up was about the animal rescue, and I think it might have been the thumbnail. Something anyways triggered the algorithm, because it got almost no views. So either people don't care about animal rescues, which I don't think is the case. I think probably the algorithm looked at the thumbnail and went, wow, like that animal looks like it's in pain, which it was, and in a bad way. So I changed the thumbnail. If you want to check it out and have not, please check it out. It's the second latest video, I guess, second or third latest video on the channel. Without going into detail about that, basically was my host and I here managed to help an animal in distress that was in a lot of pain and in rough shape on the side of the road. So if you're an animal lover, especially a dog lover, the feel-good story of the week, let's call it. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for checking out the video. Stay tuned for the video and photo montage of Ingapirca. I appreciate your time. If you like the video, please drop a like and or a comment, and please pass it along to anybody you think may be interested in checking it out. With that, I will say happy trails. See you out on the road.